So, good day, our dear Mr. Paulo Apiña. We are the Group 1 and we are here to present the CHOROPLETH MAP Election 2022. So, the Philippine Presidential Election. The 2022 Philippine Presidential Election was held on Monday, May 9, 2022 as part of the 2022 general election. This was the 17th direct presidential election and 16th vice presidential election in the Philippines since 1935, and the 6th sexennial presidential and vice presidential election since 1992. So, incumbent President Rodrigo Duterte was ineligible for re-election because the president is limited to a single term under the 1987 Philippine Constitution. So, isang beses lang umupo ang isang tao sa pagka-presidente at ayon yun sa batas ng 1987 Philippine Constitution. Incumbent Vice President Leni Robredo was eligible for re-election but chose to run for the presidency instead. Therefore, this election determined the 17th President and the 15th Vice President. The President and Vice President are elected separately, so the two winning candidates can come from different political parties like Nationalista Party or the Liberal Party.
So my name is Jenny Layugan Agdubo. So first, for the presidential candidate, so as you can see, there is a table or there is an example table above for the presidential candidates. So these 10 names are on the ballot for the position of president. Since the Philippines or our country shifted to automated polls in 2010, the highest number of presidential aspirants ever on the ballot was 10, and it was also recorded that year. So next is for the vice presidential candidates. So in here, for the vice presidential candidate, there are 9 names on the ballot, but followed a long process by the COMELEC to remove noisy ones candidates on list. In October, a total of 97 people filed their candidates for vice president.
Greetings, my name is Agustin Emmanuel P. And my role is to discuss and explain the partial results as well as the data collection of the CSB file for the previous election in the Philippines. So here we have the CSB file with the partial presidential election results in each region. As you can see, Bongbong Marcos received nearly all of the votes across the Philippines, followed by Leni Robredo, Isko Moreno, and so on. So for the next slide, we have the CSB file for the vice presidency as well. So as you've seen, Sara Duterte won the most votes throughout the Philippines, making her the partial winner for the vice presidency.
I'm Adrian Joseph Albano. So let's visualizing the data for CHOROPLETH MAP. The elections are political events conducted every 6 years here in the Philippines. But in other countries, election events have different numbers of years when they have to elect some candidates, wherein all legal age individual would cast their votes for the presidency. So when you are in the right age, which is least 18 years old, you will be able to vote in election, and you must need to be a citizen of the Philippines and also registered as a voter. It is a display of power struggle among candidates in which the candidates who garners or collect the largest number of votes will win. With such strong implication for the future of the country, different research and studies are applied in order for us to understand the mechanism that ensure from the individual's right to suffrage. So suffrage meaning the right to vote in an election. By this, we are going to create a CHOROPLETH map to provide substantial information in explaining election partial results. So the data set we will use for the CHOROPLETH map has two categories for presidency and vice presidency.
I am Sheena Lorraine F. Andres, and this is the JSON file, regions in the Philippines and its attributes. So, Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao, multi-polygon. Bicol Region, Region 5, multi-polygon. Calabarzon, Region 4A, multi-polygon. Cagayan Valley, Region 2, multi-polygon. Caraga, Region 13, multi-polygon. Central Luzon, Region 3, multi-polygon. Central Visayas, Region 7, multi-polygon. Cordillera Administrative Region, polygon. Davao Region, Region 11, multi-polygon. Eastern Visayas, Region 8, multi-polygon. Ilocos Region, Region 1, multi-polygon. Mimaropa, Region 4B, multi-polygon. Metropolitan Manila, multi-polygon. Northern Mindanao, Region 10, multi-polygon. Soc-Sargent, Region 12, polygon, and Western Visayas, Region 6, multi-polygon.
So hello, I'm John Paul Prakino. So I'm going to discuss what is CHOROPLETH map. So CHOROPLETH map is just to show how data changes from place to place. This map allows us to visualize information tied to geography and to compare and analyze data from across locations. CHOROPLETH map help readers histories in numbers, from taking data to tell a story about a student competition to looking at voter trends for insights into political landscape. So this picture, itong picture nito is the output of the color map. So makita natin kung sino ang nanalo or partial winner dito sa may colored map. So, ayun ang sinabi dito. So, it's used to show how data changes from place to place. So, ipapakita ko kung paano ito nangyayari. So, ito yung code na kung saan show yung colored map or yung map. So, makina, pag pinay natin yung map, papakita yung region and yung voters, kung sino yung presidential race at kung sino yung nauna. Dito, dalawa lang yung kulay na nakapapakita kasi. Ang kinuha lang is top 1 and top. So, makikita natin. Pag pinahint natin dito sa may map, makikita natin kung anong region siya at siya ay Cagayan Valley. So, partial winner, Bongbong Marcos. Region, Cagayan Valley. Tapos yung tally ng vote. Makikita natin na Bongbong Marcos is nangunguna with 1,605,146 votes. At sumusunod, si Lenny Robredo na merong 167,837 votes. So, ganito yung output ng color map na show or pinpoint the data in your dataset.
I am Melody Balaw and i-discuss ko yung codes for mapping ng results ng presidential candidates. Una, we need to upload the files na gagamitin. In our case, we use CSV file for presidential and vice presidential number of votes and GeoJSON for Philippine regions. After nun, we need to install packages for our libraries. So, kailangan natin mag-install ng packages para mapagana yung libraries. So, yung una dito is yung GeoPy. Ginagamit natin yung GeoPy to locate the coordinates of cities, countries, addresses. And in our case, ginamit namin to locate the coordinates of regions ng Pilipinas. Second is GeoPlot. Ginagamit siya to create a good and visualized geospatial maps which are populated with data. So more on sa design siya ng map ginagamit. Third is GeoPandas. Ginagamit to work with geospatial data or yung geographic information. Ginamit namin yung geographic data, example is yung longitude and latitude para ma-map namin yung location ng Pilipinas sa Earth. Next to this are the import of the libraries. So, Pandas is used for analyzation of data. Inassign natin siya as PD para pagtatawagin yung Pandas sa code, PD na lang ang ilalagay. Next is Plotly.express. Ito yung ginagamit to style the figures. So, mamaya ipapakita ko kung paano or saan siya ginagamit. The last two is GeoPandas and GeoPlot, which is na-explain ko naman na siya kanina. So dito, nag-assign lang tayo ng variable for CSV file or yung file for election. Dito, nag-assign din tayo ng variable for GeoJSON file or yung file ng region ng Pilipinas. Nag-assign tayo ng variable to read the CSV file. The tail mentioned is to show the lower part of the data. Next is assigning a variable to read the GeoJSON file. Dito naman, dinedisplay lang natin or pinapakita yung associated data under each columns. Dito natin magagamit yung Plotly.express para lagyan ng functions and designs yung CHOROPLETH map box na gagamitin natin. If we try to run this, ganito yung magiging output niya. So yung kinuha lang namin is yung partial winners and the result shows na ang majority votes ay si Bongbong Marcos. Nilagay din namin yung number of votes ng mga kalaban nila.
I'm John Luis Balmores. I-discuss ko po kung paano namin na-plot yung vice presidential. So kanina, na-discuss na po ni Ms. Melody Balaw kung paano mag-install, mag-import ng mga libraries at yung kanilang gamit. So same lang po sa presidential race, in-upload lang din po namin yung file for vice president and also yung gagamitin natin JSON file. So ito, nag-declare po kami ng variable for vice presidential dataset, which is yung CSV file na na-upload. Then ito naman is nag-declare rin kami ng variable for region, which is yung JSON file na gagamitin. Then ito is to read and to show yung laman ng CSV file natin. Kung makikita po natin, ito po yung lahat ng laman ng CSV file natin. Then next is to read the JSON file. And also, itong part na to is to display yung laman ng JSON file natin. And makikita niyo po dito yung column and their corresponding data. So ito, itong line of code na to, ito po yung ginamit namin para ma-plot po yung Vice President. So gumamit po kami ng CHOROPLETH map box and yung ginamit naming map box style, which is yung white PG. Kapag niran po natin to, ganito po yung magiging kalabasan niya. So kapag hinover natin yung mouse natin sa map, makikita po natin yung Vice President and their corresponding votes. So makikita natin dito na majority ng Filipino is binoto si Sara Duterte and si Kiko Pangilinan is nanalo sa Bicol region. So yung kinuha lang namin is yung partial winner.